And Then There Were None, first published in 1939, is widely regarded as Agatha Christie's greatest and most influential mystery novel. It is a masterclass in suspense, psychological tension, and narrative precision. Unlike traditional detective stories, this novel features no central detective. Instead, Christie places the reader inside a closed-circle mystery where justice, guilt, and fear slowly consume every character. The novel explores themes of moral responsibility, hidden guilt, justice versus revenge, and the fragility of human conscience, all while maintaining relentless suspense from beginning to end. The Invitation to Soldier Island. The story begins as 10 strangers, each from different backgrounds, receive invitations to stay on Soldier Island, a remote and isolated island off the coast of England. The invitations come from mysterious hosts known as Mr. and Mrs. U.N. Owen, whom none of the guests have met. Among the guests are a retired judge, a doctor, a general, a schoolteacher, a detective, a reckless young man, and others, each seemingly respectable on the surface. Upon arrival, they discover that their hosts are absent, and communication with the mainland is impossible due to the island's isolation and worsening weather. Inside the house, the guests notice a framed nursery rhyme titled 10 Little Soldiers, displayed in every bedroom. At first, it appears to be a harmless decoration. Soon, it becomes a chilling prophecy. Accusations and the first death. On the first night, after dinner, a gramophone recording plays unexpectedly. A mysterious voice accuses each guest of being responsible for someone's death in the past, crimes that escaped legal punishment. The accusations cause panic, denial, and outrage. Some guests confess privately to themselves, while others insist they are innocent. Shortly after the recording, Anthony Marston, a reckless young man, dies suddenly after drinking a poison cocktail. The guests realize that one of them must be a murderer, and that they are all in danger. Fear tightens its grip. As the days pass, the deaths continue, each one eerily mirroring a line from the nursery rhyme. After Marston's death, Mrs. Rogers dies mysteriously in her sleep. Soon after, General MacArthur is found dead on the beach, struck from behind. With each death, a small soldier figurine disappears from the dining room table, reinforcing the sense that the killer is following a precise and merciless plan. Panic escalates. Trust dissolves. The guests form alliances, accuse one another, and attempt to establish logical explanations, but logic begins to fail in the face of growing terror. Psychological breakdown and paranoia. As the group shrinks, fear intensifies. Mr. Rogers, the butler, is killed while chopping wood. Emily Brent, a rigid and judgmental woman, dies from a lethal injection, echoing her moral cruelty toward a young woman she once cast out. The remaining guests realize the killer must be among them. Yet every death seems to occur when all others have alibis. Christie expertly manipulates suspicion, turning each character into both detective and suspect. The storm worsens, cutting off all hope of rescue. Food runs low. Sleep becomes impossible. The characters begin to unravel psychologically, confessing guilt, hallucinating, and questioning their own sanity. The circle tightens. One by one, the survivors die. Judge Wargrave, a respected authority figure, is found dead with a theatrical wound to the head, appearing to have been executed. His apparent death convinces the others that justice has finally been served. However, the murders continue. Dr. Armstrong disappears and is later found drowned. William Blore is crushed to death by a falling clock shaped like a bear, again mirroring the rhyme. Soon, only Vera Claythorne and Philip Lombard remain. Consumed by fear and suspicion, Vera kills Lombard, believing him to be the murderer. Left alone, she prepares for the final verse of the rhyme. The final death, and the ultimate mystery. Vera, psychologically broken by guilt over a child's death she once allowed, hangs herself in her bedroom. The nursery rhyme is complete. All 10 guests are dead. But the mystery remains: how could the murderer be dead as well? Authorities later discover the island but find no clear explanation. The case becomes known as the perfect unsolved mystery. The shocking revelation. In an epilogue delivered through a confession letter found later at sea, the truth is revealed. The murderer was Judge Lawrence Wargrave. Wargrave, obsessed with justice and aware that he himself was dying, devised an elaborate plan to punish those who had escaped legal consequences for their crimes. He carefully selected victims who were guilty but unreachable by the law. By faking his own death midway through the murders, Wargrave removed himself from suspicion and completed the killings undetected. He ultimately took his own life in a way that made it impossible for anyone to suspect him, creating what he considered the perfect crime. Themes and literary impact. And then there were none explores the idea that justice without mercy becomes cruelty. Christie questions whether anyone has the right to play judge, jury, and executioner. The novel also examines guilt as a psychological force, showing how hidden sins inevitably surface under pressure. Each character's downfall is not just physical but moral. The book's closed-setting structure has influenced countless mystery novels, films, and television series. It remains one of the best-selling novels of all time and a cornerstone of the crime genre. Conclusion. With flawless pacing, unforgettable suspense, and a haunting moral question at its core, And Then There Were None stands as Agatha Christie's darkest and most brilliant achievement. It is a story where justice is absolute, fear is inescapable, and no one, no matter how respectable, is truly innocent.